Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I'm Steph Barron, owner of Lady Luxe Hair Salon and owner of ladylux.co.uk. So today I am going to be colouring my horrific roots. They are so bad. I am still in the UK lockdown. We are potentially in lockdown until April the 26th, which is 2 more months. So I just thought, bugger this, I am taking matters into my own hands and these roots are going to be gone. I was loving doing loads of treatments and getting my hair in much better condition, which I have got a few videos coming up of products and things to get your hair in really good condition, but today's video is going to be how to give yourself balayage at home. Little disclaimer, I do not want you to encourage to do a balayage if you have no hairdressing experience. I am a fully qualified hairdresser, but I am still shitting myself because I do not colour my own hair myself, but I'm just fed up of these dark roots and I'm taking matters into my own hands. But I feel like because I have the knowledge and stuff, I'm going to try and do this with an educated attempt. If you have no hairdressing experience, I feel like it's a disaster waiting to happen. So step away from the bleach and leave that to the professionals, who would be me when we open in April. But if you have got hairdressing experience, I am going to show you how to colour your hair and how to apply your foils. So let's get started. So I'm just going to bring my hair down. As you can see, it is pretty blonde at the ends. It is a sort of medium-y brown here, and it is my dark natural virgin hair at the top. So my dark base is about a 6. So this is a disclaimer. What I'm going to be using today might not be suitable for your hair. If your hair is lighter, you will have to use something that is going to be lighter for your hair. I am using 9% developer and bleach. You might only need to use 6% or 3%, but obviously this is my hair and 9% is suitable for my hair. I really need to have a really blonde light lift, so that is what I'm going to be using today. So let's get started. So the products that I'm going to be using for this video is the Igora Schwarzkopf bleach. I'm using 9% developer, olaplex, Redken, shades EQ in the toner 10VG, which is their new toner. I'm excited to use that. Again, I don't have scales because I'm doing this at home, so I'm basically guesstimating, and because I've got a lot of experience, I'm pretty good at the guesstimating. So I'm not going to be doing a full head balayage, as I literally will find it impossible to do the back of my hair. So I'm literally just going to be giving myself a few foils at the front and then my top section. So it's more than a T-line, maybe not quite as much as a half head, but I am just going to be taking clean sections on a diagonal. I'm doing a larger weave so that I can then cover more of the hair, and I'm applying the bleach only to the dark areas of my hair. As it's 9% that I'm using, I don't want to be taking it down onto my previously bleached hair, as that hair is already being processed and is already light and potentially could cause overlapping and breakage of the blonde hair, which we do not want to have. I want to have brighter blonder hair. I don't want to have less blonde hair. Thanks very much. So yep, I will just be applying it to my dark hair. I'm then just going to use my comb to fold up my foil and move on to the next section. Now this is quite difficult. I am using the phone as my mirror because I'm filming on my phone, and it is just difficult to keep your sections as clean as possible. I would also recommend using small sections. You want to make sure that you have a really good lift, so make sure that your sections are going to be thin enough and small enough that the bleach will fully cover and fully saturate, because if you use too thick sections, the bleach will not penetrate all the way through the hair and you will have orange bandy highlights. So again, I am just taking my weave and I'm just applying it directly onto the dark areas. I have a little bit of banding between my previous blonde. I am sort of swooshing it down a little bit, sweeping it onto a little bit, but not too much because obviously I don't want to overlap. So I'm just going to continue on taking the next section by section. How I'm taking these sections is not how I would do a client's hair, but I am doing this on myself. So obviously it's easier to see the front of your hair. It's so much more difficult to see the back. But yeah, this isn't exactly how I would do my client's hair, but this is my first time doing this, so I'm just kind of improvising as I go. Again, taking my weaved section and I'm applying my foil right underneath and then colouring on my dark hair. Underneath, I am taking the highlight to the top of my section because I do want to have maximum brightness, but my overall look isn't going to be like super blonde, or I obviously have a really large dark root and I want to have a lot of dimension. I want to use a lot of the dark to still create like a bit of a low light and things in my hair, so I am taking wider sections because I do want to have a lot of dimension in the colour. If you want to have a brighter, bolder blonde, you have to have your foils much smaller and much tighter together so that you're covering more of your natural hair so that you can lift it up as blonde as possible. So I am just repeating the exact same process that I've been doing for every single foil. I am placing the foil underneath. I am then applying my 9% bleach onto my dark hair only. I'm feathering it down onto the join between the blonde and the brown, just so that it passes over ever so slightly. But obviously I'm not bringing it down because it's really important that you don't overlap onto the previously bleached hair. Honestly, doing your hair yourself is actually so difficult. I really didn't think it was going to be this difficult. Even folding the foils, I feel like I'm having problems folding the foils. They're not neat, they're crumpled. But yeah, girls got to do what girls got to do. So I am just continuing to work in really small sections and I'm taking a finer weave so that I can make sure that the blonde is going to be fully lifted and the bleach is going to be fully saturated all over my section. There is nothing worse than going to all this effort and have not applied enough bleach and I've not been able to get the clean enough lift that I am after. As my hair is so dark, it's so important that the bleach is fully covering every single section and every single strand of hair, just so that we can get a super clean and bright lift. I wouldn't worry too much about your foils being folded up as well. I am just trying my best to get them as centered as possible to each other, but there has been a couple of times when they have been crumpled, but yeah, don't worry about that too much. So I'm now going to move on to my other side and I've taken my section down behind my ear. I'm also then just going to work from the front backwards. I've taken a slanted section, not right at my hairline, just slightly further back, and I'm just going to be doing a medium-sized weave so that I can get a lot of blonde contrast. Again, you need to make sure that you are fully saturating the bleach all over the dark section of your hair and just sweeping it slightly on to the join between the blonde and the brown hair. I feel like I'm repeating myself over and over again here, but it's so important that you don't take the bleach onto the previously blonde hair, as that will cause breakage and can cause potential damage. So I am just going to continue on doing my other sections on the sides. I'm taking the hair back in a slanted section and I'm just going to be covering the majority of the side area. Again, I'm taking a medium-sized weave and I'm making sure that I'm applying a generous amount of bleach so that I am fully saturating each section and always avoiding previously bleached hair in each section. So basically I'm now starting to pivot my section into a more straight section. So what's going to happen is obviously I've started at more of a slant and I'm making my way up, getting straighter and straighter so that at the top my section will be completely straight and parallel with the very top section. This is just the easiest way to be able to get the foils in at the small section at your ear and then make your way all the way up to the top of your hair. So as I'm taking my next section, I am taking a much more straight section. As you can see, I'm taking again a larger weave so that I can cover the maximum amount of blonding. So as you will be able to see, the section I've taken is too thick. I've not got any definition, so I'm just going to do this section again. So this is why it's so important to make sure that you've got a really defined weave, because if you don't have the defined weave, you will be able to just sort of have your highlights merging into one. Whereas the way that highlights work is so that you've actually got like the blonde hair, the dark hair. So as you can see there's gaps in the weave. So that's what you want to have so that the actual hair from underneath will shine through in those gaps. So again, I'm just continuing to apply the bleach onto my dark hair. I'm not taking the section right up to the top of the foil. I'll just leave a tiny little gap just so that the foil has got a little bit more space for movement and doesn't bleed. Again, I am making sure that I only apply the bleach onto the dark areas of my hair and not onto the blonde. So we're getting there, guys. We are getting there. It does take a lot of time and effort. I mean, I didn't think it was going to take me this long either, but yeah, we're getting there. So I am just going to be taking a lot more of a straighter section now. So as you can see, I've parted off my hair in line with the top section. I'm again doing my weave, and then I'm going to be applying the bleach. So I'm now just going to finish off with my last section on this side. As it has gone a bit squint, I am just going to straighten it up. Again, parting it down to even it up with the top section. This bit can be pretty difficult when you have got foils in, you're trying to see your section. So just make sure that you do take your time. It is so important that you cover every section of your hair and every part of it, because you obviously don't want to leave any hairs out. So again, as you can see, I have taken this section completely straight along the top, and I am just going to be applying the bleach onto the mid lengths of the dark area. I am sort of sweeping it up onto the top area. I'm not taking the blonde as high up as my highlight. I am sort of blending it a lot more because I do want it to be softer as we are getting to the top. Oh, I've just seen that I've missed a little bit of the bleach, so I'm just going to apply a little bit more and then put my foil up. So now I'm going to be moving on to my top section, which is going to be the section at the parting. I'm taking my section at the back and I'm just going to be weaving, again doing a medium weave. Now genuinely I thought the top was going to be the easiest section. I completely forgot that I had the back top section to do, which is actually so difficult because you can't see at all. I'm completely blind, probably should have had my glasses on. So yeah, please wear glasses when you're doing this. Also, I thought I would be able to take the foils back the way, but it was going to be so much more difficult because of applying the bleach. So I decided to do the foils forward to make it a little bit easier. So obviously I was using the front of my head as a sort of support for the bleach and the foil to be laid on and for me to be able to paint the bleach directly onto the hair. But again, it was really, really difficult to just see the brown areas, and yeah, this is why I'm bent over the way I am, because I'm trying to get you to see. I'm also trying to see myself, but yeah, this is a really, really difficult part of the video. So please be warned in advance to watch this video all the way through before you actually start going to attempt to dye your hair. So I decided to try and make this a little bit easier for myself and section the front part of the hair away so that it was completely out of view and out of the way for me, so that I could make my way through the top section. This is a really handy tip for you so that you're not having to deal with as much hair. So again, I have taken my section, I'm just taking them completely straight across. There's no slanting or anything on this top one. We're literally just going to be working in a rectangle right the way from the back, right the way to the front. I'm again doing a medium-sized weave in smaller sections so that I can get maximum coverage. Again, I thought I'd be able to put the foil at the back, and then that was an absolute no-no. So again, the foil is at the front just because it makes it so much easier. I moved the clips out the way so that I was able to use the top of my head as a flat surface, and yes, applied the bleach directly on this way. As you can see, my little eyes popping out because I'm trying to see in the phone mirror. I'm trying to apply it onto the top of my hair. Honestly, this was the most difficult part. So if you can get through these couple of foils, then you will have no problem. You can literally see my face. It's like the sigh of relief of thank God that is done. But I've still got to move on to the next section. So again, I pinned my hair out of the way with my clip. I'm trying to put the clip down out the way because obviously as it was on the top of my hair, I can't use the top of the section as like a flatter surface. So I've moved it much further down out the way. Again, as this is my first time, this is the first time I'm experiencing these problems, and I'm just sort of working them out as I'm going. So this time I'm obviously weaving my section as normal, but I'm going to back comb my hair this time. And the reason I'm back combing the hair on the top is because I want to obviously create a much more softer blended blend. So I'm applying the bleach onto the darker areas again, but this time I'm feathering it up because I don't want to take the highlights directly right up to my roots, because that's much more of like a highlight look, where I'm wanting to go for much more of a softer balayage. So I'm now getting closer to the front of my hair. I'm again taking my straight section right across, brushing it up, and then doing a fine weave so that I can get nice even coverage. Again, I'm back combing slightly, and then I'm going to be applying the bleach directly onto the hair this time. So I found that it was going to be easier to apply it directly on, similar to the balayage technique that I would be using. And I'm just feathering it up onto the dark areas and sweeping it slightly onto the blonde, leaving a little bit area free at the root so that it can be a much more softer blend. So I've applied it on one side and then using the foil and my bleach again to apply on the other side so that it's penetrated on both sides. I'm doing this because I want the front to be slightly lighter and I want to have a brighter, bolder money piece. So I'm just going to be taking another small section, making sure that it's straight across. I'm making sure it's a small enough section so that I can actually take my weave and not have it too bulky. Again, I am back combing my section just so that I can make it slightly softer, and I'm applying the bleach directly onto the hair. Again, I'm using my balayage technique where I'm blending the bleach throughout the section. I always feel like it's really important to keep your sections really blended when you're doing a balayage. Obviously, I've got my tease section and I'm taking the bleach down onto that. And again, I'm feathering up the bleach onto my backcomb section now that the foil has been placed underneath. I always like to keep the blending really soft, so when I'm blending it onto my root area or blending it down onto the previously bleached area, it means it's going to be really soft and the transition is going to be seamless. So I'm then just going to fold this foil up as well. You can see my face, I'm like, God, thank God this is done. Once you're getting to these front sections, you know, like, the hard work's done. We are getting through this. I am going to be blonde. Hallelujah. So again, what I did with my front sections, as I do want them to be a little bit blonder, I have taken my sections much closer together. I am still back combing and I'm doing a medium-sized weave so that I can get a lot of blonde lift at the front. I'm again taking a generous amount of bleach and I'm applying it directly onto the dark areas of my hair, feathering it down into the root and also feathering it onto the blonde previously dyed hair. It is still 9% developer and bleach that I've been using throughout my hair. Usually when I was doing clients, I would use a lower peroxide on the bottom, but I just thought because my hair was so dark, I'm just going to use the 9% and the olaplex all the way through. I'm again applying the bleach on the other side of this section just so that we can get a really blonde and clean lift. This is a really long video, but I felt as though I had to show every step of the way, so I feel like I couldn't make it shorter. I have sped it up ever so slightly, but yes, bear with me with this video. We are getting there when it comes to balayaging your hair. Don't worry, the end is near. So now that I'm going to be doing my front money piece section, I've decided to go right to the very front section and do that. So I'm going to take a really small weave. I have done my money piece a few weeks ago, so it is literally just the very dark area that I want to brighten up. So I'm just going to be really precise with the bleach that I'm adding on, and I'm applying that really to the dark area only. I'm just going to fold my foil up. This can be a little bit difficult now that the foil is hanging at the front of your face, but because it is only for a few foils, you just have to bear with me. So I'm just going to brush the hair up first just so that I can make a neat section. Then just going to be making my section straight across, and I'm going to be doing a very fine weave again. I'm going to be doing the fine weave because it is the front section and I do really want to have maximum blonde and I want to have it really blended as well. I'm also not going to be using a feathering technique. I am going to be taking the bleach right up to the root as close as possible so that I can get it lifted more or less from the root at the front. This is because the front area, I want it to be the boldest and the brightest, and I want the money piece to fully pop. I am, however, going to feather the bleach down onto the band between the previously bleached hair and the dark hair just so that there's an even transition. So I am now going to be moving on to my two last sections. So the hair is just a bit too big to put it into one, so it is always really important to make sure that you do it finer. You're better to do more than not enough. So I'm just going to be taking again a fine section and applying my foil underneath and bleaching as we've done before. So I'm again taking the bleach right up to the very top of my root and blending it all the way down onto my band area where it meets the previously blonde hair. It is a little bit easier doing the front section because it's right at the front of your head. You can use your forehead as a flat surface and it's easier to see than the back is.
So I am now going to be doing my last foil. I cannot stress enough how delighted I am to be doing that last foil. I thought, hallelujah, I've come this far. Here I am completing my highlights. Hallelujah. And again, I have placed the foil underneath, applying the bleach on. I feel like this was probably the quickest foil because I was just like, get this over and done with. But yeah, I've made sure that I've saturated the bleach all over, and I'm blending it really well and foiling it up and closing the last foil. And I've made it, guys. That is all the foils done. Honestly, I was so delighted with myself and could not wait for them to be developed and get them done and dusted.
So I have now completed all the foils and I have left them to develop. So this side is obviously the side that I applied first, so I'm going to take this one off, and I've taken this foil out already, and as you can see it's lifted up really well. So I'm just going to take this side out just because these ones have already developed. If I keep developing these ones, they will over process, and I don't want that. So I'm just going to rinse this side in the shower while avoiding the rest of the foils. I mean, that was not the easiest thing to do, but I have managed to do that side, which is great. So I'm now just going to let the other side develop, and then we'll take this side off next and then the top. So I am nearly at the end of this tutorial, and this is my hair now that it's all been highlighted. It is looking really good, and my toner looks like it's turned out really nice as well. So I'm just going to apply a little bit olaplex oil and a little bit olaplex smoothing, and I'm just going to blow dry it, but I'm going to blow dry it off camera just so that we can see the final results. So that we can see the final results. So here they are. So I'm back, and now my foils are fully ready to come off, so I'm just going to remove the remaining foils, and then I'm going to rinse and we will apply the toner. So I have now just rinsed my hair and shampooed it, and it is looking super blonde, and I'm already really happy with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply a toner now. So the toner that I'm going to be using today is Redken Shades EQ 10 VG, which is part of their new range. It's called Baby, and I love a baby blonde, so that's what I'm going to go for. I am just going to guesstimate. I don't have scales, so I'm just going to be pouring in a rough amount, and also putting in the solution again at a guesstimate, and hopefully they will be equal parts. Mix it all up. I am just going to go ahead and apply it directly onto my hair. I'm going to be leaving the front section out because I want this to be a little bit brighter. Do you know what the hardest part is? Is using the phone as a mirror. So now that I've applied the toner onto my roots and my mid-lengths, I'm now just going to apply the remainder to my ends. Put this towel on because I don't want to get it all over the middle.
So I probably should have been wearing gloves while I was doing this, but I forgot to take some home from the salon, so I didn't have any gloves to use, so I am just doing it with my hands. But I was just applying the toner directly with the brush and then blending it in with my hands to just make sure that it was saturated throughout
So
the
now that I
mid-lengths
have
and ends.
applied all my toner, I have left the front section out because I want that to be brighter. I'm going to leave this now for 20 minutes and then going to rinse it. Again, I'm going to be using my Redken Extreme Lens and then going to condition. So I'm going to rinse and then I'm going to shampoo and then I'm going to condition and then I am going to blow dry and we can see the final results. So guys, I have just finished blow drying my hair and I absolutely love my new blonde hair now that it's all blow dried. Look how good it looks. It is so blonde, it is so much fresher. I honestly love it. There is actually no better feeling than having your fresh blonde highlights done. So I am absolutely loving being able to part in it now, sort of most ways. Being able to style it. Yeah, it looks fab. I'm going to just put a little clip in of my before, so here it is.
So look how dark my roots are. You can see that they're so dark, but this is the after. It's so blended and I love it.
I am really happy with the results. I hope you are too. So to just summarize, I do think that it is very difficult to color your hair at home successfully. Being able to do highlights and to do a balayage, I did find it quite difficult to do on myself. I mean, it's very easy to do on a client because you can see what you're picking up, you can see what you're doing, whereas trying to do it yourself was really difficult. So I would say if you don't have salon experience, again, please don't do your hair at home. If you do have salon experience, I would take your time, make sure you do really fine small sections so that you can get a really good clean lift and use appropriate bleach and developer for your hair. And yeah, good luck with your hair lifting and hopefully your results turn out as good as mine did. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel, as I am going to be making a lot more hair tutorials and hair videos very soon.